Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this update on our city's response to yesterday's storm. Joining me this morning are Lincoln Transportation and Utilities Director Liz Elliott, our Lincoln Police Chief Michonne Morrow, Lincoln Fire and Rescue Chief Dave Engler, and Lincoln Parks and Recreation Director Maggie Stuckey-Ross. We're also so pleased to be joined by LES CEO Emeka Anyanwu. It's been a coordinated response, and we're pleased to give you an update. Public safety is my administration's and our community's top priority. And when severe weather hits our community, as it did yesterday, through that storm that packed and unexpectedly strong winds, our city team rapidly mobilizes to ensure that our residents are safe and that they have access to the resources and information necessary to keep their families safe. Our city teams worked throughout yesterday afternoon and well into the night to help motorists travel safely across our city, to help restore power to our city's well fields that supply water to everyone in our community, and to help residents remove downed tree limbs from their property. Now, as a city team, we know that we do not do this work alone, and that's why I'm so grateful to our community partners like LES, and especially the people of Lincoln, whose goodness and care for their neighbors has just been on full display and is stronger than any gust of wind. We also thank our partners at the Omaha Public Power District, whose teams worked so diligently to help restore power to our well fields, and our dedicated city teams who have worked tirelessly since yesterday afternoon, to restore city services that were temporarily disrupted by the storm. Here to provide details on our efforts to restore the full functioning of our well fields and our transportation network is Lincoln Transportation and Utilities Director Liz Elliott.
Thank you, Mayor. Lincoln Transportation and Utilities began responding to Wednesday's power outage the moment the wells lost power in Ashland around 5:30 in the evening during the severe storm. LTU plans for these types of emergencies and immediately connected with Omaha Public Power District. OPPD reported losing its electrical distribution system, which is the power that keeps Lincoln's groundwater wells pumping water into our Ashland facility, then treats and sends water through a pipeline system to the Lincoln community. OPPD worked incredibly hard to resume power to our larger wells. This was accomplished around midnight last night, and we continue to work with their team to regain full operational power in the well fields. At this time, power has been restored to 26 of our 44 wells, and our water capacity is now at 75% operational. Our next steps are to restore our remaining wells, and we expect those to regain power sometime overnight, tonight, or Friday. Along with our water well fields, our Northeast Water Resource Recovery Facility lost power temporarily last night. With Lincoln Electric System's fast action and assistance, power resumed around 11 p.m. The facility is now operating normally. We are continuing to ask the community to voluntarily delay all outdoor water use until midnight Friday. This includes temporarily halting residential and business irrigation systems. We thank residents for your efforts to halt all outdoor water use overnight and have already seen a dip in water usage this morning. We are so grateful to have a community that jumps in to help when needed. Responding to emergency situations like this is part of offering good customer service. We applaud OPPD and LES teams for their outstanding work to respond to Wednesday's storms and to continue to respond to work with our teams today. The up to 80-mile-an-hour winds and storm affected not just our water and wastewater systems, but also several traffic signals. Our community reacted to the power outages cautiously while drivers navigated traffic intersections with no power and flashing red lights as four-way stops. Our traffic engineering team continues to work with LES to restore the power to the remaining signals as fast as possible. Most were restored overnight. We are still working on restoring powers to the area of 13th and K, 13th and L, and 21st and K streets. As LTU and LES team up to respond to all traffic signal operations, LTU's operations and maintenance crews were standing by ready to assist Lincoln Parks and Rec with storm debris removal and barricade streets with downed power lines the moment it was safe to step outside. Crews worked all night clearing fallen trees and debris from Lincoln streets. I'm so proud of both teams and their dedication and service to our community when needed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Director Elliott, and to everyone at Lincoln Transportation and Utilities for your incredible efforts throughout the night. In addition to LTU, our team at Lincoln Parks and Recreation is at the forefront of our city's coordinated response to this storm. And I'd now like to ask up our Lincoln Parks and Recreation Director, Maggie Stuckey-Ross, to provide more details about her team's rapid response efforts.
Thank you, Mayor. Our Parks and Recreation team has been working through the night to respond to our community members' needs in wake of yesterday's storm. The damage to Lincoln's urban canopy is significant and it's visible along our streets, in our parks, and across our community. And our team will be out until the cleanup work is done. Overnight, we received 401 reports of trees down across Lincoln. There were 83 additional reports in the first hour of our workday today. We encourage residents to use the Uplink app to report tree issues, as it is a quicker way to contact us, but you can also reach out to us by phone at 402-441-7847. To maximize efficiency and clear the way for as many community members as possible, we have a systematic approach to clearing downed tree debris. We prioritize this important debris removal in the following manner: blocked arterial streets, blocked residential streets, blocked driveways, trees with hanging limbs, blocked sidewalks, and tree debris in the right-of-way between the curb and the sidewalk. As we complete our work in the public right-of-way, we want to remind everyone that tree debris on private property is the responsibility of the property owner. Residents should contact their haulers for removal or take debris to the following locations free of charge. In Southeast Lincoln, Holmes Lake Park on the North Shore, the parking lot between the volleyball courts and the ball fields. In Northeast Lincoln, Sang Park, south of the ball field. In Central Lincoln, Woods Park, specifically the south lot off of J Street. In Northwest Lincoln, Oak Lake Park, the main lot off of Charleston. And in Southwest Lincoln, our friends at Hofling Enterprises at 2200 South Folsom Court. The park locations will be accepting free tree debris through August 19th. Next, I want to cover what you can expect from Parks and Recreation services and facilities today as we recover from the storm. All city golf courses are open for play. We have numerous trees that are down around the course with significant scattered debris. It will take our team time to address, but the courses are open. It appears that Pioneers Golf took the most significant storm damage from the straight line winds. Widespread damage has been reported at nearly all park facilities and along our trail system. Residents are encouraged to avoid downed trees and damaged infrastructure in our parks so that our teams have space to work. All recreation centers and pools will have normal hours today, except for Arnold Heights, which remains closed for a non-storm related maintenance issue. Finally, in line with the city's water conservation efforts, we are discontinuing irrigation at all locations, including city golf courses. Pools will remain in operation at this time, and display fountains, which use recirculated water, will also remain in operation. We appreciate the collaboration of other public agencies present here today, and I commend our forestry, maintenance, and district teams for their quick and focused response to this weather event. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Director Stuckey-Ross, to everyone at our Parks and Rec teams who've been working throughout the night as well. Our Lincoln Police Department's mission, as always, is to keep our community safe, and that's particularly true in the event of emergencies and severe weather events. Here to provide details on how our team at LPD has been responding and providing support to our community is Lincoln Police Chief Michonne Morrow.
Thank you, Mayor, and good morning. As this and property damage. We are very grateful to be able to share that we did not have any reports of injuries that were related to the storm. In the aftermath of the torrential rain and 800-mile-per-hour wind gusts, numerous traffic signals were not working due to the loss of power. We sent officers to direct traffic at major intersections and alerted drivers to roads that had to be temporarily closed due to the tree debris. We would like to remind the public that any time you approach an intersection where the traffic signals are not working, to please do so with caution and to treat those intersections as a four-way stop with respect to all others on the roadway. I want to commend our police officers and LEEC staff telecommunicators for their commitment and how quickly they responded to all of the influx of calls for service related to the storm. Despite losing power to the 911 center itself, we were able to maintain services with no interruption to our ability to respond to calls. Our emergency generator was in operation and powered the center for nearly 8 hours yesterday, and additional telecommunicators came in on their own without request to continue to answer calls and serve our community. The dedication of our officers was also on full display, which included third shift officers who came in early to assist those officers who were already out responding to calls and to be a part of the response related to the storm. Our teams worked throughout the night to make sure that every person who called the LECC received services in a quick and timely fashion. Again, we are thankful to all of our partners at Lincoln Fire and Rescue, LTU, and Parks for the response to this storm-related incident. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, and it's just another example of the incredible dedication of people who suit up and work at the city, coming in when they're not even on duty, to make sure that our community is safe and has what they need to make through a tough time. All right. As first responders, our team at Lincoln Fire and Rescue were also busy throughout the night working to keep residents and property safe. And here to share more about Lincoln Fire and Rescue's operations is LFR Chief Dave Engler. And before I turn to you, I want to just clarify, 80-mile-an-hour winds? Thank you. Okay.
Yes, thank you. LFR command staff had been monitoring the weather throughout the day. When the storm started, we began to experience a significant increase in calls for service. On an average day, LFR responds to around 93 calls from the community every 24 hours. Yesterday, we responded to 246 calls, with 153 occurring from 4:45 p.m. to 11 p.m. As part of our operational plan, we had an assistant chief in the Emergency Communications Center to triage calls, ensuring that our resources were sent to the highest priority calls during the peak call volume. Medical emergencies and fires received an immediate response to calls, and then wires down, which totaled 55, were held and were dispatched when we had resources available. Our crews worked with the Lincoln Electric system, making sure to provide them with information that assisted them in prioritizing their calls. I'd like to commend our firefighters for doing an excellent job of safely responding to these calls under trying circumstances, and thank our public for providing important information to the Emergency Communications Center to assist us in making sure we were sending the right resources to the incidents. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Chief, and again to all of our first responders at LFR who were out there making a difference and keeping people safe. We're also fortunate that our community is served by the Lincoln Electric System, one of the most reliable and affordable electricity providers in the nation. When a storm like the one yesterday hits, crews from LES are on a mission to restore power safely and efficiently, and here to provide an update on their efforts is LES CEO Emeka Anyanwu. And Emeka, thank you so much for your leadership. And please.
Thank you very much, Mayor. The LES team continues to work to restore power following yesterday's extreme windstorm that struck our service area, causing widespread tree damage and outages throughout the Lincoln area. As of 10 a.m., approximately 6,700 customers were without power. That's a reduction of about 23,000 from the peak of storm outages yesterday, when there were approximately 30,000 customers without power. We know that being without electricity creates hardships for customers, and we appreciate your patience as crews work around the clock to respond to the storm. Please know that we're doing what we can, when we can, and where we can to restore power as safely and as quickly as possible. Ensuring the safety of customers, communities, and workers is our highest priority. As always, customers should stay away from down power lines and always treat fallen wires and anything touching those wires as if they are energized. If you come across a down power line, consider it live and please stay away. Report it immediately online at les.com/report or by calling 888-365-2412. If you see any arcs or sparks or any imminent fire danger, please call 911 right away. Customers should never use a portable generator inside a home, garage, crawl space, or other enclosed areas, or anywhere exhaust fumes can enter enclosed spaces. Progress is being made to restore power safely and efficiently in areas where damage assessments are complete. Due to yesterday's strong storm with high winds, there are a lot of downed tree limbs and power lines throughout our service area. LES follows the restoration plan to restore power to emergency services and facilities critical to public health and safety, such as hospitals and fire departments. Then we restore power to customers by focusing on largest impact areas first. As of 4 a.m., we had restored our high voltage power lines that deliver electricity to thousands of customers, which by itself decreased our outages from 30,000 at the beginning of the storm to just under 7,000. We are now working on power lines that provide service to hundreds of customers. Following those restoration efforts, we'll begin on individual outages. Starting at noon today, cities of Grand Island and Hastings are joining the effort through our mutual aid network, a coalition of public power utilities who give and get help to restore their systems during major events. So a total of 14 crew members, 10 from Grand Island and 4 from Hastings, will join the effort. We thank these public power peers for helping us enhance our capabilities and restore our service territory quickly. And we also, once again, thank you in public for your patience as we address the outages safely. Please report outages or down power lines at 888-365-2412 or les.com/report. We will continue providing updates through our media partners and LES social media channels as the restoration continues. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emeka. The City of Lincoln is deploying a coordinated, all-hands-on-deck response to help our community swiftly recover from yesterday's storm. With the help of our community members, to whom we are very grateful, we will ensure everyone is safe and healthy, that everyone is able to do what they need to do, when they need to do it, and where they need to do it. With that, we would be happy to take any questions from the media.
How does this compare to previous years, like previous storms we saw in the spring, or just any storms that you guys have seen in the past?
You want to start?
Okay. Thankfully, these don't happen all that often, but we are always planning for these events, so we're prepared. Our resources worked as we expected them to, and thankfully our team is amazing and they respond even when they get the calls when they're home with their families. So really our response was exactly the same as it was during the earlier tornado this year and how we have responded in the past. So kind of business as usual during these kinds of events for us.
And I would just add that while we do plan for these kinds of severe weather events, what made this one unique was the wind speed of the straight line winds. the duration of the winds and how widespread the winds were in Lincoln and the Omaha areas. So, you know, we continue to prepare and we'll tackle and have our community's backs for whatever comes. We know from our climate action plans and preparations that we anticipate seeing the storms becoming more severe, rainfalls more intense. We understand how storms are changing, and we are working to be ready for them at all times.
Is there an area in town that was hit particularly hard, or was it pretty consistent across town?
Do you want to take this one? Or do you have
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
I was just looking at our beehive system this morning, and it is widespread. Typically in a storm, you can see, based on call-ins, kind of the path that the storm took, but this one is unlike storms we've seen this year so far, in that the damage reports we've seen really cover all 4 quadrants.
Do you have any idea yet on the how you said damage to the to the forestry, city forestry department is severe. Do you have any idea how many trees you've lost, or, you know, what you're looking at in terms of?
At this point, we don't know, but I would say nearly 500 reports before I came in today, and that would be on an individual tree. Each report would be assigned to a tree, so that's a pretty big number for us.
Yeah. This is a weird technical question, but you said property owners are responsible for trees on their property. Does that include that little strip between the street and the sidewalk?
So that's the right of way, and that is the responsibility of the city. That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
Chief, did
Yeah.
you want to? Absolutely.
So I don't have with me this morning the breakdown of where all of the calls for service were within the city, but I do want to again highlight that we had officers in all areas of the city directing traffic in large intersections where the power was out. I also again want to highlight, we just moved into a new facility. We had a news conference on that recently for our Lincoln Emergency Communication Center, and we are just thrilled with the success of that move and working through any challenges that we had, that we've been successful. And shortly after the move-in, we have this storm incident, and while we had a power outage of right around the 8-hour mark, that the generators, everything worked seamless, and we were still able to serve all of those in need in our community. Again, thanks to our dedicated telecommunicators.
Was there any point at which 911 was down, or was it a seamless?
It was seamless. We had no interruption. With that said, if we do have community members who had a concern that they couldn't get a call into 911, we do know, because of the increased call volume in a very short time frame, that we had some 911 calls that weren't answered on the initial call. We want to assure our community that we have technology in place, that we have captured that 911 call, and we are calling back. So even if that community member didn't connect with a telecommunicator immediately and perhaps did not call back a second time, they were still going to get a return phone call, and all of those were returned.
Were there any particular calls to service that stood out to you guys last night?
I don't know that I have any particular to highlight. Again, our officers were out directing traffic, assisting in roadways with trees down. We certainly did experience some accidents that were storm related, and we will start parsing through all of that data yet today.
How many fires were reported?
We had about 10 fires that were actually reported, structure fires, none of which amounted to any significant dollar loss. So a lot of that is the drop lines to the house coming down and causing concern and some smoke smells. But out of those 10, we didn't have anything that we consider an actual fire where we had to engage in suppression. We had a number of fire alarms go off, and that happens a lot anytime you have significant weather events where there's storms or a loss of power that will trigger those. And then we had 2 car fires, and then some minor fires that aren't actually categorized but might be bushes on fire or something like that. But yeah, exactly. So from from our perspective, you know, we didn't see anything that was really significant as far as fires go.
I had one more question about LES, and that are the remaining outages in any particular part of town?
So yeah, I'll just kind of respond to that generally. We're very similar, right, to our partners here. The damage is pretty much across the territory. The nature of the storm, as the mayor described, right, being as widespread as it was, means that this is pretty well spread. You know, we are certainly responding to things according to our normal protocol, which is, as I said, we started with critical services, and then we're moving on to hardest hit areas, the ability to restore large numbers of customers as quickly as possible. I will reiterate, given the chief's comments just now, that you know, down power lines certainly are a priority for us, but you know, as we move through, we are still very much in the thick of our damage assessment. So our priority right now is trying to figure out how we can coordinate our restoration as quickly as possible. And so we very much advise folks to just stay away if you can avoid it, can avoid the area, avoid anything touching it until we are able to get to it. That's the best course of action. And then again, if there is an imminent sign of sparking or arcing, call 911.
I know you probably can't give specifics on restoration of power, but are you looking at days, hours, ballpark?
Right now, as best we know it, this restoration definitely will proceed through the day and into tomorrow. As we have better information through our damage assessment, we will know better sort of what that course looks like. We are certainly keeping an eye on all possible ability to mobilize our entire workforce. As I talked about, we've got mutual aid helpers coming in. And we will certainly continue to look for whether or not we can effectively use them, because part of it is making sure that we understand the landscape of the damage well enough that whatever resources we bring to bear, we can actually use effectively.
Okay, one more question. This is probably for Liz or the mayor, but I'm wondering how, you know, you're working on a second water source. Once that's established, would that have prevented, you know, could you have, will power be to, will it be OPD to both sources? How will, geez, I'm having a day. How will a second water source affect this storm?
I'll let Director Elliott take this question in detail, but what I would say is that one of the key benefits of developing the second water source is providing redundancy in the case of emergencies. So,
Now, exactly as Mayor said, one of the benefits is distance between the two facilities, because not very often are both areas going to be hit at the same time. So the second water source is exactly made for these kinds of events. So if we lose power at Ashland, more likely than not, we should still have power at the Missouri site as well.
Is the Missouri site powered by OPPD, or will it be?
It will be powered by OPPD.
any other questions? Okay, I want to thank all of our city teams once again. I want to thank our community partners at LES and OPPD up the road, and most of all, thank every single member of our public who is working to help their neighbors and our community recover from this storm. Together, we got this. Thank you.